Hi everyone, welcome to HubShots episode 306. In this episode, we talk about HubSpot view tips, copying contact properties to deals, or you could do it to tickets as well, save sections and associated objects. My name is Ian Jacob and with me is Craig Bailey from Zen Systems. How are you, Craig?
I'm really well, Ian, and welcome back to 2024. Although as we record this 22nd of January, it's almost the first month of the year is almost over. It's flown by. Has it been super busy for you?
Super busy on holiday, Craig. But yes, no, it has been. It has definitely gotten super busy. So let's talk about our growth thought of the week, which is so much for a holiday.
Well, you might remember in the last episode, I know that was months ago, listeners, well, feels like it. We said we were preparing for a fast start in 2024 and get ready for it. And I've got to say it's been faster than I expected. I know we mentioned at the last episode towards the end of the year, we were possibly not going to take a break. We were going to work right through depending on what client demand. And that's exactly what happened. We've had a few public holidays, but pretty much powered through, most of the team, not just me. I've never seen anything like this, Ian. The sentiment from business is so strong. And the reason it's in growth thought is because you can pick your outlook. And I put this on LinkedIn, just depending on who you read in the media and their PR releases, it's either going to be a terrible year ahead or a great year. So you decide, really. For us, it looks like it's going to be very strong, and for most of our clients. Now, why are we mentioning this? Because it is unusual, and for our overseas listeners, they might be like, oh, we always walk through, because I know in other countries they don't have this big break. In Australia, what do we normally do? We have a big holiday break and kind of middle of January, stroll back into the office, spend a week checking our inbox, and before getting into it. Not this year. It's been a fast start. How's it been felt? I think you were really wise to take a break. You went off to Hawaii for a holiday at the end of last year and you've come back recharged. How's it been for you so far, Ian?
So while I was away, I did do a little bit of work, but it was planned. And yeah, you know what? I did enjoy the holiday. Whether we'd have another holiday right before Christmas, I don't know. I actually enjoyed it because we flew in on Christmas Eve and kind of rolled straight into Christmas. So that was really good, but I feel really recharged. I'm back to training this week, back to routine. So I'm actually very excited for the year. And like you rightly said in the notes, Craig, what news are we reading? Like, are we reading doom and gloom? Or are we reading what's positive and what we can impact positively? So yeah, let's make it a great year, 2024.
Just following on that it's been such a fast start. We also said in the last episode, make sure you ramp up your paid advertising over the break because it normally gets really quiet and you get cheap clicks. It's been like that every year, I don't know, for however long, 5-6 years we've been doing it. Not this time. Clicks were expensive and it was competitive. So it goes to that experience. Everyone's really busy. They're powering through. And by the way, it's not just us, it's all our clients as well. That's what's driving it. I think there is business sentiment, especially in Australia, that is very positive, and it looks like it's going to be a wonderful year ahead. So that's what's been, I guess that's an excuse, isn't it, Ian, why we haven't actually recorded before now. Normally January is when we record a lot of things, but it's been about prioritization.
Correct.
However, we haven't kind of ignored HubShots altogether. In fact, we have a brand new version of the HubShots Framework. It's now available. We've added a whole new section on Ops Hub and integration. Plus, it's not only the A3 PDF poster, but we're now making the whole Google Doc available. So you can sign up for that, link in the show notes or as a comment under any of our videos, or you can find it on the website. Download the HubShots Framework. Free to use it for your business. If you're an agency, free to use it for yourself and for your clients. The only thing we request is keep our branding intact. Don't be like some people that kind of copied it all and removed every reference to HubShots and pretend it's their own. Just at least give us a little bit of a link. But please use it and please give us feedback.
Right. And so if you're thinking, why would I need the new one? Like Craig said, one of the bits that I love about it is the breakdown of what your priorities are. So you can list them really clearly. There's 1 to 3 priorities. You can work through it and have it on there. And because it's a Google Doc, take a copy of it. And then what happens is you can actually fill it out, share it with your team, and have everybody be on the same page. And you can tick it off as you do things. So I think it's a fantastic little update from the team.
Little bit of a plug. If you'd like to book in time with Ian and me to go through the framework. There's a link. You can book in a QuickCheck. We don't advertise in this podcast. We've been doing it, 8 years now. We don't advertise. So this is the only salesy bit we do. If you would like to book in time with us. And that's what we've actually been doing with some new clients recently. They're like, look, we just want to book in some hours to go through the framework with you, fill it all out, give us a bit of guidance, and they take it from there.
All right. So onto some quick shots. And here's some things that are noteworthy. HubSpot notification email addresses. Make sure you aren't blocking them because HubSpot is sending them from subdomains. So very important if you have rules in your inbox, not to make sure you miss any of these. And this is all to do with those email updates that are happening across the board. You've got enroll contacts in a sequence based on a user property, example, a contact owner. So there's something new. If you haven't been using that in a workflow, think about that.
That's Sales Hub Enterprise or Service Hub Enterprise. I should have added that, but yeah,
correct.
I think people know that. This is just an improvement to that.
The next thing that I was quite excited about, and this is the screenshot of my app, Craig, was all your to-dos, meetings, and tasks are in the one place, and you can filter them. So one of the things, when you're reading about it, they don't tell you about the filtering. So I just wanted to highlight that. You can actually filter that. And I actually love that you can change it into the calendar view, or you've got this like consolidated view, which kind of nicely highlights what's a task, what's a meeting, etc. So if you're not using the app, I encourage you to actually go and have a look and start using it more, especially if you're using calling, because there is a lot in there. And then the final one, which some of you might have seen, is generating reports with AI. I have tried this. And either I need a little bit of work or the AI does, but maybe it's my prompt engineering or my prompts that I'm using. But I actually think it's a good start. If you want to create a really simple report, it actually works quite well. I was trying to connect 2 different data sources to get this report. Didn't quite work, but it could be the prompt I was using. But yeah, it's a good start.
You know, I read this quip the other day that AI is anything that doesn't work properly yet. It's kind of become that. You know, in the Gartner cycle, it's like the hype cycle, and we're kind of entering that trough of disillusionment where people are all over the hype and now, it's not very good. I think we're going through that. So perhaps a bit of that, it's not quite working. We call that AI.
All right, what's our marketing feature of the week, Craig?
Yeah, just quickly touch on these because I'm really just going to recommend 2 videos, one for the marketing feature and another one for the sales feature. And the reason it's come up, it's about specific ways to use contact views. I think most people are aware of the concept of views that you can have on an object, e.g. a view on contacts or a view on deals, view on tickets, etc. But what we've found as we've looked at a lot of portals lately is that they're very underutilized or very minimally utilized in the functionality. And they're very powerful. And so we've created 2 videos, one about how a marketing person might use views on contacts, and then a second one on how salespeople would. And we even include a list of the typical fields or properties that we include in the views. We show how to save them, clone a view and save them, and then share them with others. So just really wanted to highlight that. It's very hard to kind of show in a screenshot. So there's 2 videos there. Make sure you look at those. And they build on it. They're part of a series that we've got up on our YouTube channel where we start simple and then we get progressively a little bit more complex.
So, Craig, people will often wonder why we're making a big song and dance about views, right? But what I wanted to highlight was the ability to share it is being one. But the other thing is the ability to put the right columns in the right place and be able to see all the information you need, but also edit the information you need, but also filter the information you need. So some really simple things could be a view that you've got, which says, show me all the deals that I have that are going to close next month, right? And you might also in that view want to exclude anything closed lost and closed won already, so you keep it nice and clean. That's a really simple one, but everybody gets to utilize that, and you can see the important information on this in the list view on a single page. So that's what I love about it. All right, on to our HubSpot sales feature of the week. Building a simple sales view. And that was probably my example, right into the sales view, Craig.
Yeah, we've got 2 shots. One's marketing and one's sales. 2 different videos. taking it from the different angles. One's a marketing angle, one's a sales angle, and we include even the properties which we commonly see on both. I'll give you one just to add to your comment. Marketing, they often like to see original source.
Yes.
How did the contact get created? Sales, they often like to see, latest sales activity. So two different sets of properties, and we go through that in the videos.
And don't forget, those views, sometimes people create the views, and in sales, because a deal has a board view, they sometimes might get confused. So be aware that is happening. You might want to be very good with switching between board and list view, whereas in other parts of the system, they're mainly list views. So just be aware of that. All right, workflow feature of the week, Craig. Using a workflow to create a deal and copy contact properties in one action. Now, why we're talking about this is because we were looking into a portal and we saw workflow with about, I don't know, was it like about 10 steps, Craig? Once it created a deal, it was then in each step copying one property. And I kind of went to you and I said, hang on, I think we could do that in one go. And here it is. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it's a good point. And by the way, this is not new. This is a reminder.
Yes.
And so when you create the deal or any associated object, this happens to be from a contact workflow.
Yes.
The contact, maybe they filled in a form, they come through the workflow, it's creating a deal. And then as part of creating the deal, we can actually copy out properties from the contact. And in the example, we use some address properties. We copy it up from the contact to the deal that has address properties. And it's a reminder because on the call, you actually highlighted this to me, Ian. And I said, oh, can you? Really? Oh, yeah. And so then we were joking. We're like, oh, yeah, this has been here for ages. And I thought, I bet I knew about this, but had just forgotten about it. And sure enough, I went back through some workflows I'd created. I've used this like ages ago, and I think we even talked about it on the show before. And so this is the problem, shall I say, with HubSpot. It's so rich in functionality. We find out about something and then we forget about it unless we're actually using it every day like I did. So if this awesome feature, which I had forgotten about it, then maybe others have as well. So it's a reminder. And one of the things I've been doing on my LinkedIn videos lately, Ian, and you can find them on YouTube as well, is they're reminders.
Correct.
I think there's a whole value piece in just reminding people about existing functionality. My LinkedIn feed is just full of people talking about the new things or things that are in beta. I'm like, oh, that's great. But you know what? We need more reminders of existing functionality. That's kind of where I think the gap is, and that's what I'm doing more of. This is a great example. Copy it up. This is what it looks like. And it saves, as you said, Ian, it saves you doing, create the deal and then multiple individual steps. By the way, copying a contact property to a deal with that individual step, you've got to say, which deal is it? Got to use association labels.
Correct.
So not only do you have to then try and make sure it's the right deal,
yes,
but then also you've got to do them individually. So I've recorded a video about it as well. Great reminder. Thanks for that, Ian. It was kind of like a big takeaway from a call I was on with you last week, and I just really wanted to share that with listeners again as well.
All right, onto our CMS Hub feature of the week, which is Save Sections. And again, we should call this the reminder episode, Craig.
I just think reminder of the week. And there's too many reminders.
Yeah, and you know what? All of these things that we're talking about really drives down to creating more efficiency and doing things faster, because everything we've discussed is like, how do I save time getting to my end goal, right? So well worth noting. And so this one is if you're using CMS, and you could be even using email marketing, but in CMS, you can save a whole section and you can reuse it on another page. So just a reminder, it's a little button where you can save a section in a drop down and then you can add it into a different part of the page.
Again, not new. This was launched in 2021, right? 2-3 years ago.
Correct.
So it's not new, but lots of people will be on calls. We'll show them how to, maybe we've built a website and we're handing it over and we say, here's it. And they go, I wish I could copy that. And I'm like, you mean like this? And we show them save section. They're like, yep, that's exactly what I need. So it's a great little feature. A lot of people know about it. Can have up to about 50 of them, I think. Although
yes.
I think that's increased. Didn't they start with 10 initially? And then was 20 and now it's 50.
Correct.
And yeah.
All right, onto our HubSpot Service Hub item of the week. view merged ticket IDs on a ticket. Now, we were merging tickets and someone asked us, how do I figure out which ticket got merged? Because they were searching for the old ticket ID, right? So there is a property called merge ticket IDs. And so HubSpot keeps a track of this data. It's a property in there. You can click into the ticket, view all properties, and then find this. And you will actually find that ticket ID in there. And you can, obviously, if you create a ticket view or you're in a ticket view, you can also search by merge ticket IDs and you will find it in there.
Really handy. And again, calls back to views. For one client that you and I are working with,
correct,
Ian, we actually created a view that their filter was just based on some specific tickets. And so then we created the view and then we could actually send them the link to that specific view around some merged tickets. So power of views and the power of this merged ticket IDs property.
All right, on to some listener feedback of the week, Craig.
Really want to thank Danielle and Paul from HubSpot for this. Listeners may not realize that we occasionally meet and give a bit of training to the HubSpot team. They invite us in, which is very nice of them. We might walk through a particular scenario or a particular topic. This one, I think, was about 6 months ago. We talked right through attribution, giving them the perspective from some of our clients. And they very kindly gave us this nice quote or testimonial that's on the website, thanking us for that. So nice quote from them there.
And I also want to say thank you to everyone who, over the break, has connected with us, has sent us notes, has asked us questions. We really do appreciate it. And we would love to have more of it, Craig. All right, on to our AI prompt of the week, Craig. What is on version 6 of Midjourney?
Well, since our last episode, yeah, as you say, Midjourney's released version 6. And it's come with a lot of new features, but one of them is a real focus around using text in imagery. Previously, it was hard to get words placed on text. So we've got an example here of a diner, and we wanted to add text to it. I think that's really powerful. Midjourney continues to improve. We've got a whole, on our Zen Create site, the team have been just churning out great prompts and inspiration. They released version 5 of the Midjourney Inspiration Guide. Now that's 60 plus pages. It's very detailed around Midjourney, what it includes, prompts, examples, inspiration. I think it's had more than 1,000 downloads so far. It's very popular. So you can get that. You don't even need to sign up. Okay, just go to the site, get it, and you can download it. Then we've got another version of that coming in a month or two as well, because the space is moving so rapidly. Might be wondering, why do we talk about Midjourney so much? It's because it's all about design and imagery. And we get these images and we use them in all the websites that we build in HubSpot, CMS Hub. So very close alignment. The Zen Create team focus on, I guess our mantra is never use a stock image again. Create them all and great websites in HubSpot CMS. So check that out. Any questions? Let us know.
All right. Thought of the week, strategy versus tactics. And so I'm going to, Craig, you've written an article about this, but a handy analogy to use next time you're trying to remind someone about tactics versus strategy, which is a lot of conversations we're having recently. Strategy is the recipe and tactics are the ingredients or the utensils that make that strategy happen, right? So when you're asked what is your strategy for the year ahead, tell them about the cake you're baking, not the spoon and flour you're using, which is such a great analogy. And you've got a hat tip to Chris Voss from Never Split the Difference.
Yeah, one of those classic books. And that's where I got this analogy from, the recipe versus the ingredients. I think it's really helpful. You know, people, you ask what their strategy is and they respond with some little tactic, short form video or this email or something. It's like, yeah, but hang on, what's your strategy? So a good reminder, especially at the start of the year, to kind of take a step back, think bigger picture about where you're going.
Now, Craig, you've got a word of the month, which is alignment. Tell me about that.
Well, it just seems like every second meeting I'm in, people on the agenda, they're putting alignment as one of the topics to discuss. I'm like, what alignment? What is it? Is that January's, like, why is everyone talking about alignment? Did I miss the memo?
Did we enter buzzword bingo, Craig?
Well, maybe it is kind of a buzzword, isn't it? It's like, we want to have a meeting to get alignment on blah, blah. I'm like, you never mentioned this word before. Kind of, maybe that's what January is, alignment month. Anyway, just something I noticed.
All right, and what's our quote of the week? It says, "Be a flip-flopper" by Shane Parrish. And there's a lot of people have probably been reading Shane Parrish's book, Clear Thinking. But tell me what this reminded you of, Craig.
So being a flip-flopper is often a criticism. It's, that person that, they're always flip-flopping around in their thoughts. His point is, be a flip-flopper in response to facts. So don't be afraid of changing your mind based on facts. And I think that's a good reminder. There's a fear, and he talks about politicians who get accused of being flip-floppers because they change their minds. And I guess consistency is something that we do like to see in our leaders. But when there's new information, you should change your mind if it's warranted. So that was, I think, a reminder to me. Don't get stuck in your ways or justifying something that you said before. Be comfortable changing your mind. And I like to tell my team, I'm like, that's what I thought last week, but this week I think something different. Here's what we're going to do. And as long as you're not all over the place. We know those chaotic people that kind of, can't concentrate or get anything. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about a response to facts. And I thought that was a good reminder. Yeah.
All right. Training of the week is using associated objects with lists. So we have a video there to have a quick walkthrough. So if you want to know how to do that, that's a great little resource for you right there. Now, if you haven't got the framework yet, you can download it. But actually, if you sign up to this, I'm sure you'll get a link directly to the poster, so you don't need to do any sign up. But have a look and start using it. There is the Google version of the doc, which you can copy and fill out and use with your team. And if you haven't already, we would love to hear from you. Please connect with myself and Craig on LinkedIn and keep a lookout for updates. Any feedback, please let us know on LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you. Well, Craig, until next time.
Catch you later, Ian.